Hello, everybody. We're the Peachtree Rascals, and you're listening to Therapy Sessions. Disclaimer, we are not therapists.
Welcome to episode 5 of Therapy Sessions, and a happy hello from your two favorite hosts. I'm Paulette.
And I'm Lohana. Get horizontal, grab your tissues, and get ready for this week's Therapy Sessions,
where we're dedicated to diving deep into the minds of our favorite musicians by looking into the psychological and sociological side of their artistry and their lives.
With us today, we have Peachtree Rascals.
Woo woo! Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, amazing. Thank you all for being here. How are you all feeling? I mean, before we get into it, do you all want to introduce yourselves so people listening can have,
I'll go first.
the voice?
I'll go last.
I am Tarek. I sing and I songwrite and I rap a little bit, inspired by Isaac, the greatest rapper of all time, also a member of the Peachtree Rascals. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yes, I am Isaac, and I'm the rapper in Peachtree Rascals, and I be rapping.
Lit.
I'm Joseph. I'm a singer-songwriter. I also play guitar and produce a little bit.
And you're sexy.
Yeah.
And Dom's sexy. Go ahead, Dom.
I produce, I songwrite here and there, and I play piano.
Ooh.
And you look like John Stamos.
And I sometimes look like John Stamos, especially when
On a bad day, you look like John Stamos.
That's the right answer.
On the good day, John Stamos looks like him.
Tarek looks like my mom.
What?
I don't like your mom, Dominic.
Oh, steamy.
All right, George, your turn.
Deep.
Yeah. I'm George. I do the visuals and creative direction for that stuff. And I am
Beautiful.
I'm
You are the Zoom
Spider-Man.
user.
Do you like,
We are the Peachtree Rascals.
Yeah.
George, do you handle the Instagram? Is that like your vision, the whole
Not
Instagram thing?
really. Not really anymore, but that's been taken care of by other people recently.
It was like all us for like I think 2 years, and then once we started to like build our team outside of
I
just
was the
the
manager.
of us, and and like once we got our manager and like a label, like we used that as like a escape code, just like to focus on music and like not have to worry about other stuff, because social
Right,
media
right.
can get annoying at times.
Absolutely.
It's stressful.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't worry
for
about
everyone.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
Even me, and I'm a no one. I'm a nobody.
Exactly.
Hey, everybody is a
Everybody's
Somebody.
You are somebody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know you all had an insane year, and I know that you just recently released Camp Nowhere, which is fire. I was jamming out to the whole album earlier, and I was absolutely in love. But what is it like releasing a body of work now, like you said, when things have changed, you have a team, you just get to focus on the music and the vibes? How does that feel, putting out music like that at this point?
It feels great because it's like that's what we always planned for, starting from day one, when it was just us five working out of a shed, like packing all our merch ourselves, Dom doing all the production, me and Tarek and George handling like all the social media, me taking like 20 phone calls a day. Like we always knew that eventually we would have resources to where we don't have to put that much strain on like our brains, taking care of jobs we don't have to take care of, but we needed to take care of during the time.
Yeah, as you should.
And it feels amazing because like our whole game plan from when we started was like, before in 2018 we dropped our first song, Glide, and before that for like 3 years was just us in Dom's backyard in a shed that his dad helped build. Like it was just us in the backyard making music for 3 years, just like building up our sound, building up our confidence, and trying to get like, I think 5, 6 like solid singles that we can start to roll out. And like we kind of like did everything, like we were very like particular and planned out. Like our rollout, just like of how we started, was kind of inspired by Russ His like, because the way he blew up, like he went 11 years dropping like a bunch of albums and stuff and never got recognized. And then like 2016, he started doing a single a week and just like did that for like 75 weeks or something until like a couple of those songs like stood out and could like brought the fans and the platform. And then he dropped his debut album. And that's like exactly the game plan we were following. Was like, because this like age, this era of social media, like if you drop a body of work, like a month is like a year and people forget really fast. So we didn't want to like, release a whole body of work when no one was really listening. So we were just like taking one song at a time, drop a visual with every song and merch and like just keep that. Like we did that for I think 2.5 years. And then Mariposa blew up over quarantine last year. And it gave us like enough of a platform. We were like, all right, we can start focusing on a full body of work. And like the resources that like we've gained, like there were so many times where we were in the shed, just us, like before we had any other resources. And like we would make songs and we would just know like something could be better, like there could be something to add, but like just us being self-taught and not having like any other resources or anyone around us, like we didn't have enough knowledge or experience to do that ourselves. So like we would release stuff that in our heads and in our ears, like we knew they weren't really finished. So it was just like really amazing to get to the point where we are at with this project. So like we were able to get people to play strings for us, get people to play horns for us, and a couple other producers to like really help us get our vision and our sound like to where we wanted it to be. And like it's just so amazing to like listen to this body of work and be like everything is like exactly how we wanted it to be and even better than we wanted it to be. And it's just like it's a dream come true and it's something else. And like there's a couple of songs, JoJo, Pockets, and Papa. Pockets is the oldest one, but like we had those songs from a long time ago, years ago, and it's just like we've been holding on to them because we knew how good they are. And holding on to a song for that long is like it's like I don't know like a better word right now, but it's like annoying because you just after you make a really good song, you want to release it really bad, and like holding on to it just feels like it just feels like you're holding part of you, and like it's just really good that like people finally get to hear some of those songs that we've been holding for so long. And it's just very freeing.
For sure. You want to share it, obviously, because it's your work. You put so much time, so much love into it. And like, it's like a burning thing. It's like, I just like need to it's like a secret, when you like,
exactly.
I need to like tell a secret.
Exactly. And yeah, it feels really good to finally have it out there.
I just need to know whose heart was broken. Like when you guys created Mariposa, like who broke your heart?
I think everyone had their own fair share
of their
around that time.
Yeah, but Joseph is the one who like started that song. He brought it to us and we all just kind of ran with it, and we all have our own stories, and that's something that like I really appreciate with the guys is like we are all free to kind of like speak our side of the stories, like no matter what the song or like the concept of a song is or a project is, like each song has a little piece of us in it and individually, but it all seems to connect, and like it's something that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that's incomprehensible to me that you all can have all of these different feelings and life experiences and then you mash it all into a song and it's just one cohesive vibe. Like that's something that it takes so much talent and connection to do. And I think it's such a strange thing. Is there any kind of aspect to making music all together and, having the end result be something cohesive, even if you're feeling different ways, that is kind of like a mental health relief for you? You all have a different feeling, but you still get to put it all out there and feel it all together. Is that something that is in your mind when you make this kind of music? And I mean, also how the fuck do you do it?
I think it's something like we've been friends for what, like 7 years now, 8 years now. And like we've been friends like years before we started making music, and then we started making music, and we've been working on music for years before we released our first song. And now it's like been like 2.5, 3 years since we released our first song. So it's just like something that is kind of ingrained with us. And like, especially after we moved in with each other, and like, we just like, you're so connected, and we're so like, I'm so connected to these guys. Like, we don't even have to like talk about it. Like when we write, it's pretty funny because like when it was just us, it was just us. And like, we would all like kind of be in our own little like corners, and like we still do that. Like Dom and like Dom, Jasper, and Joseph would like come up with chords, and then everyone kind of like splits up and like writes their own melodies, their own lyrics, and brings their own little
Yeah,
we're
we're
all
up in our
pretty shy.
10 by 10 shed.
Yeah. And just like we all
each take a corner.
I love
All
that.
by corner.
And then
Dom's in the middle.
and then someone's outside with Dexter, Dom's dog.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Dexter.
That's the
And
best
it's-
job.
And it's like
it used to be brutal.
it's so crazy how like it kind of like it ends up working every single time. And this is like something we do consistently with our like creation process. Is like it always starts with the chords, and each of us are in our own little worlds when we're writing, and like we all just come back and like share our melodies and like pick like good ideas that we each have and just throw them in together, and then it ends up working. And it's like once we started like to gain like more resources and work with like other producers and writers, and like we go into sessions with like people that aren't like directly connected to us, like we get to see like the way we do shit is pretty unorthodox, like because like when we work with writers, it's always like they're shouting out their ideas, they're shouting out their melodies, or like, do you like this? Or like it's just like completely different than the way we work. We're very like inwards, and then once we are very confident in our own ideas, then we bring it to the table. Whereas like with writers, they're always like shouting it out and like saying it on the spot, and it's really annoying, and it's really hard to work with people like that too, because of the way we are. Just like we're shy, and like it's just completely different. So it's like really beautiful to be able to have that. Yeah, and like it's just really beautiful to be able to like do that as us as a group, like working on songs individually and bring it back, and it all just ends up to work. It seems to work, whereas like other writers, it's just not like that. So
yeah, and I think that's because we all like started together, so it's like we're all very vulnerable and shit, and like kind of just like through time, we all just got really comfortable with each other, and you know, we're all brothers and shit. So
yeah, you guys are. I mean, you guys are family at this point, you know. And
we're all
writers
Yeah,
are
we
just these strangers coming in your inner circle, so they don't have the same like vibe and energy that you guys like bounce off each other all the time. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you're a child. I don't know if any of you did this or if it was just me being a weirdo, but when you're a little kid and you have a best friend and you have like a secret language with your best friend and you only want each other to know that language, that's kind of what music is for you guys. You guys have been able to find this love with each other and speak this language that really only you all understand in that way. And it's it's an amazing thing to see, and people respond to it so amazingly too. So I couldn't imagine.
It's funny you say that, because after we moved in together and once quarantine hit, like we were just in a house, like kind of like in a way going crazy, because we just like started we really do have our own language with each other. Like we'll say like if you were to come and say
don't you
we
dare
start our
say
own
the
language.
I want to know.
I won't say nothing, but like it's just funny. Like if other people were to come into our group and like just like sit with us while we're all just like completely ourselves and talking to each other, you wouldn't really understand what's going on. You would have no idea.
Yeah, people would think I'm weird as shit if I was just like saying everything that's in my mind.
Good.
I totally feel that.
That's the best way to be.
Like yesterday night I was with my really good friends, and we were meeting new people that like came and had drinks with us, and I like got a little too drunk and was just a little too weird. But like with my friends it like doesn't matter, you know, but this like new person was like, no, like I don't know, like
Who is that exactly?
I just got really self-conscious. Essentially, because I was like, oh God, like I'm only with my people, right? And then when an outsider comes in, it's just like I don't know how to act anymore because
that's something that like I used to struggle with that, just like being around new people and like being myself around new people or like trying to be comfortable. But like it's something that I kind of like started to practice and get better at, because like now like I'm really good in awkward situations. I love awkward situations. I think it's like low-key hilarious. I think it's
funny,
hilarious.
right?
Like
it's so funny.
I'm a big Office fan, and like just to experience those like moments in real life, I just kind of appreciate it. And like I started to practice like meditation and just like focusing on my breath. So if I ever do like get in like that state where like I feel uncomfortable, I just like legit put myself in my own world, no matter who's around me, no matter what's going on. And like it just makes it a little bit easier to just like, you don't really care no matter what, like what's going on. You know yourself, and you can stay in your own world.
Okay, well that's what I think makes a good artist too, especially what you said about, being able to get in your zone and meditate. Kind of making music is meditative too. I know we've talked about it before. And so that's a super interesting way for, if things are awkward or amazing, you're still able to kind of find the breath in the beat and create this music that is very meditative for both you and for listeners. I think that was a really interesting point. Yeah.
It's super therapeutic. Like,
yeah.
Like growing up, like I started like actually writing and recording like around 12. And like there'd be some times where some weird shit was happening in my life. And like it's like nighttime, I can't sleep, I can't stop thinking about it. And then I'm like, all right, last resort, let me just write some shit real quick. And then like after I write the 16 or the 32 or whatever, like I legitimately feel better and I'm able to fall asleep. So it's like legitimately therapeutic.
Exactly.
And it's like it's pretty funny too, because like if you listen to like all our songs, like you feel like the music feels bright and it feels kind of like sunny summertime. But like if you were to actually listen to like the lyrics or read the lyrics, like there's a lot of like down moments and like hard topics and things that like we struggle with. And it's like it's just really like part of who we are now, where it's like we take those hard times and those hard moments and stories and feelings and just try to like make it brighter and make it sound brighter. And like just being like, that's something that really, really, I think I absorbed last year over quarantine.
Yeah.
Like during like the time frame where we released and wrote Not Okay and Things Don't Go My Way. It's like just like instead of being so like hard on yourself when you're not doing good, just like being comfortable with it and kind of like accepting it. And like it's so much easier said than done. Like it took me years to finally like be like, okay, when I'm at my worst, it's okay. Like, and I'm fine. Like I can get through it, or like not even think about getting through it. Just like experience it, be in it. And like whenever it's gone, it's gone. And it's just like, that's something that I think the music really helps, because like I said, we take those hard times and like we make it sound brighter, make it feel brighter. So it's like, okay, we can actually welcome those things in, and like it's not as bad as it feels. And it's great.
Right. Well, that's what I think, obviously Mariposa just ran TikTok for a period of time. It was the TikTok song, but it's because it was during quarantine. It was about something that maybe people were dealing with in heartbreak or feeling all of these feelings, but it sounded like summer. It sounded like the song itself felt like you were surrounded by friends, that you weren't alone at all, and that there was just this warmth on you. And I think that's why it had such an impact. What was it like literally connecting with millions of people who were listening to your music, who were dancing to your music and posting about it? What was it like connecting with so many people during the most disconnected time of our lives?
It's really weird, because like we felt it just because like during quarantine, I think everyone was just spending more time on social media than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that it blew up on TikTok was really, really cool. Like, because you get to see like the people creating to the song, and like they use your song to express themselves, whether it's through dancing, whether it's drawing, cooking, whatever it is. and like that was really cool. It made it feel like more real because you get to see the people and like how they react to the songs, their facial expressions and all that stuff. But like also because of the quarantine, like we weren't able to go on tour, you're not able to go outside, so we didn't get to like physically get to feel the energy of our fans, see them, meet them, and like that's something that I really, really wish like we had during that time of Mariposa, because like we would have all just kind of like experienced that growth and like the impact of Mariposa while it was happening with the fans and with the people. But I'm just grateful like it was TikTok and not like other platforms, because you did get to see people like express themselves, and you get to see the fans, you get to see like how they react and stuff. So it's bittersweet, very bittersweet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was also like it was also really cool because like since we started making music, like we always knew like we were like gonna get to a point where like, you know, we can say, oh, we made it. And like we've had like moments before Mariposa blew up where it's like whether it was like New Music Friday on Spotify, or like big like labels hitting us up and stuff like that, where it's like, ooh, like something's happening, like this is cool. But like when Mariposa, like we saw like the numbers running up and like 1.1 million TikTok videos, it was like almost like a safety net. It felt like, okay, we actually made it. This is like physical proof. You can see the numbers, you see the people, and it's like it just made us feel a lot safer and a lot more confident moving forward. Like, okay, we did it. Now we can really start having fun and like really start pushing
again.
Yep.
Time to do it again.
Time to
I
do
like
it
that
again.
energy.
We can't go out with just we can't go out like that.
Right.
We
gotta make it again.
Type of group. That's
yes,
what...
exactly.
No, every song is a hit. I swear to God, every song. I'm so confident, and like every song, like before we release it, feels like it's supposed to have that like that reaction that Mariposa had, and more like we feel like that with every song, with every like body of work, every video. But Mariposa was just a different level, and like it's we now have we have a bigger chip on our shoulder to try to beat that one.
Oh my God, no, definitely every single song is really good. Like, you know, when you guys were blowing up, right? Like, or I guess, never mind. But I remember listening to all your music, right? And I was like, okay, like I would just want to wait. Like, I'm just kind of waiting to hear like maybe a song that's like not that good. But like there was no song.
It never came.
It never came. And I was like,
goal.
I was like, okay.
That's the goal. And that's like honestly, I have to thank I think we all have to thank like Dom for that a lot, because like I remember in the very beginning before we released songs, when I first started working with Dom, when he was like getting into production and stuff, like his mentality was like, before I started working with Dom, it was just like I would record and like whatever idea I had and like I would like it or whatever, but Dom was like the first person who was just like, no, that sucks, that idea is trash, this could be better, or like you should try something like this. And like it was just like
Targ wasn't on a Peachtree Rascal song till our third one, because him and Dom were like figuring it out together in the studio, and then eventually they came up on Violet, which was like, in my opinion, Targ's like breakout moment with Dom. Go ahead, Dom.
That was extremely fun. Like I remember making Violet. It was like he probably came over around 12 a.m. because he just like I feel like Tark doesn't really, he sleeps kind of late, so he just came over, and like at that time I just didn't really give a fuck about anything but music, and so we just spent the whole night on creating Violet, and I just had these chords, played them on a loop, and Targ would just record it on his voice memos, and we would both go through it and like mark off on the voice memo like which section we like of his melodies, and then like we just combined that shit and made Violet, and that shit was beautiful.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
That night is crazy, and like that's one of my favorite stories is Violet, because it just like it shows how like crazy Dom is as well, because like I got like you said, I came to his house at like 12 a.m. or something, and we ended up staying until like 6 or 7. Like we worked on Violet for so long until like I actually got something that was like worth recording, which was like
Mhm.
5 hours later after getting to the studio, and then we started recording. And then I left Dom's house at like 8 a.m. and I go home and I sleep at like 8 a.m. The sun's already up, whatever. And then like after I wake up, probably at like 12 or 1, I go back to Dom's house and he's like still up. Like he comes out, he's like, I'm here, and he comes out like he looks like a fucking zombie. And I'm like, did you sleep? He's like, no,
Wrecked.
I've been working on Violet all night since you left. And I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
you're crazy. You need
And
to get some sleep.
that wasn't just one time. Like that was like multiple
No,
days of the week. Like we did the same thing with Mariposa. Like me and Dom started at like 7 p.m. and like we didn't stop until like 8 a.m. in the 8 a.m. in the morning because we got Taco Bell.
Oh my god, yes, dude! I really want to do a Taco Bell mukbang. I want to order like everything on like Taco. I'm like really obsessed with like mukbang.
Breakfast crunch wrap from
Taco
Bell.
Taco
is the
Bell
best.
for sure.
So good.
Taco Bell.
No,
Taco Bell's open
it's
to
the
like
best.
3 a.m. They're hella clutch.
It's so
Yeah, they
good.
know.
nights.
They know why people are coming to them, and they cater to the clientele. Like absolutely, exactly. Well,
I've
I love
also
that you
been
guys.
like craving KFC a lot. Sorry, that's like not important. I don't.
That's not relatable.
KFC mukbang.
Yeah,
Popeyes is better.
Mukbang.
Let's do it.
that's hot. Let's do it. I like that you guys are all reminiscing though on kind of these times where things may have been simpler, but also so intense and impactful, and really set the pace for your careers. Can you take us all the way back? We're obviously a Bay Area podcast, so you guys all met in the Bay, right? How did the Bay influence your sound? What's your relationship with home? And how does that continue on as you guys continue your career?
So,
Personally, go ahead, Isaac.
no, you go.
Okay, I was gonna say personally, the Bay. Honestly, I don't really have a lot of influence in the Bay, but I got a ton like from LA and just like around the world and shit, like the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, and those are the same as Joseph too.
Yeah, for me personally, the Bay sound didn't really inspire me. It was more of like the music that I grew up with, like that my dad would show me, like what Dom said, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, like all the timeless classic music, like that you could still listen to right now.
For me personally, I was really like up to date with like who was popping in like the local scene. Like that was just something I paid attention to since I was like 8 or 9. So I mean, like you can't really see that influence sonically like in our music at all, but like it's definitely embedded in my head as like a significant part of my life, because I used to listen to the radio a lot, and
me too.
a lot of that stuff would play. And yeah, it's just like it keeps you like, if you only listen to one type of music, you're kind of staying ignorant to the rest of the market. And I always like listening to the radio because like I want to know what's going on like in the top 40, or I want to know like which sounds are working on the radio, et cetera, et cetera. And for a large portion, it was a lot of Bay Area style music coming like from artists in LA or out of the state entirely. Like it was a sound that not really influenced us sonically, but influenced like mainstream music, like a whole lot. Cause like you listen to Tyga, like there's Bay influence there. You could just hear it.
Right. Totally.
Even Drake like went through a phase of like Bay influence music. Yeah. And it's like I think like Isaac said, it didn't really influence us sonically, but I think it's like just the culture of like being around so many different people from different backgrounds and different cultures, and like being okay and acceptance and comfortable with that is something that like played a big role for us. Like just we all like, except for Dom, we're all like kids of immigrants, and we all come from different places in the world, and we just like it's something that like helped us like become who we are, helped us meet, helped us like, it's more of like a cultural thing, more of like a friendship and like a connection thing rather than like a sonic thing.
I love the Bay because I I lived in Tracy for 10 years from 2000 to 2010. So like moving to San Jose and kind of realizing like over here is like super high income. Tracy wasn't as high income, and just seeing like the difference in like the education I was receiving at one school and the other one, it was just like a culture shock. And that's why, I mean, I appreciate the Bay. I don't appreciate the fact that lower income communities don't have access to like the proper education that like the average kid in San Jose would have. But I'm glad I was able to kind of experience both sides of the fence. And like, yeah, I mean, I love the Bay for that reason. Like if I would have stayed in Tracy, then maybe like I would, first of all, I would have never met these guys. And that's the most important part.
I totally get that. I'm also a second gen kid, so I just relate hardcore. But do you guys, I just like have a question. Did you have any pressures on being successful from your family and the people around you just because you're a second gen? Because for me, I have pressures just for going to school.
So, go ahead.
Like, I would just like to say like whether they said it or not, it's kind of embedded in us as like kids of immigrants, because like the reason anyone immigrates to America, like our family, our parents, is for like a better life for their kids, and like to have like that kind of freedom where like they can actually work and like just try to achieve the American dream pretty much. And I think that's something that was embedded in us, and why like we were so like particular and so like I don't know the word, but just like try to be as efficient as possible. Meticulous as possible with like the like first getting our sound right, and then like a proper marketing like plan and a rollout plan for us as a group. And like we like didn't do like we do this for fun. We do it to like escape and express ourselves, but we also like want to like feed our families, feed our kids, and create a sort of generational wealth. So like we really have that in mind of like that kind of American dream where it's like like go after what you want to go after, and like do it as, you know, as great as you possibly can, and try to get as far as you can possibly go with it.
Yeah. I started college as an engineering major, largely in part because of my dad's influence. And like, so I was doing my thing in that for like a year or so, and then like as the workload started to increase, I was realizing like, yo, like this engineering major and this music stuff, like I'm gonna have to pick one right now. And I had to talk with my dad, and he still refers to that talk to this day. But like this is when I was like 19 or something. And I was just like crying because I was like so conflicted of like not wanting to let him down, but like just being honest. And like and I never really spoke too much about my music growing up with my parents, because I knew the responses I would get wouldn't be like what I wanted to hear. So I was like, I'm not even gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna talk about it with outside people, because they're gonna belittle it, whatever, and that's gonna fuck with my head. So I never did that until the numbers started showing up. And then like my dad understood where I was coming from during that conversation back then. And then I switched my major to fucking something
advertisement.
Yeah, advertisement, which was like 33% of the workload. And that's when me and Dom started going crazy in the shed once the engineering shit was out the window.
It was really like, for me, it was really like when I was considering like dropping out of college, when I felt the pressure the most. Because like I remember like just going back and forth for like the first 2 years I was in college, like with my parents about like, I knew like right after high school, I knew like my senior year, I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to make music. And I like didn't need to go to school to do that. I just needed to spend my time creating and getting better at it. But like it was just years of conflict, like whenever I brought up the topic. And like it got to the point where like I just remember one conversation with my mom, and this like was like the hardest thing. Was like she was like, my one dream is to see my kids graduate from college. And I'm just like, bro, like Fuck.
It ain't gonna
Rip my
be
heart
me.
out.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
It's-
Yeah, I related
yeah.
that so hard.
Yeah, you got her with a few other dreams, so I think it's made up.
Yeah,
I think it's made up
Exactly.
by now, brother.
you did a good job.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk across a different stage for her.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's
That was
hot as
smooth.
fuck.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, you guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys touched on it so beautifully because it's fucking scary to take a leap of faith in something that you believe in, and just because you believe in something doesn't mean that other people necessarily will. And so I think the fact that
Yeah.
you all could do that because you had the support of each other and make
Yeah.
this thing, and for the world to see it and be like, I absolutely believe in it too, must be the best feeling in the entire world. And we're just grateful to be along for the ride and to be able to catch
For
you
sure.
here. And it's only going up for here.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure of it. But it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Joseph's
Thank you.
experience with that. Joseph's experience with like what me and Isaac are talking about is completely different, which is like, I don't know, Joe.
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
can
man,
talk about
I
it.
mean, it's surprisingly like my parents are immigrants from the Philippines, but surprisingly, they're not as strict as like Tarek's and Isaac's upbringings, like with their careers. Like my mom was always pushing me to do whatever made me happy, only because like when she was growing up in the Philippines, like her parents forced her to be like a nurse because like that was the highest income, and like she had to move to America to support her family in the Philippines. And like for her to like support my dreams, like that was amazing. And for me personally, during that time, I really had no clear goal or idea what I wanted to do. So like music was the only thing that like made me happy. And like I like Dom and Isaac and Tarek showed me the vision for it. And like as soon as like that was in my head, like I had a straight goal, like just to like work as hard as I can, make sure we do the best that we can, and like it all paid off.
Now he's the
Love you.
greatest, one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Yes.
All
Check,
time.
check
For
check
real.
the charts.
Check
guys
the
hype
numbers
each
if you
other
don't
up.
believe it.
You guys just
Yeah,
have
Dude,
built-in
dude,
hype men all the time.
Hype man.
you don't understand. Like it's like, and just me, like whenever I realize it, or like I have these moments, because like it's easy to kind of like forget when you are around them so much, you live with them, and like you're always creating. But then every time I take a moment to like appreciate them, it's just ridiculous. Like Joseph, one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Isaac, one of the greatest rappers of all time. Dom, one of the greatest producers and ears of all time. Jasper, he's not on the call right now, but just one of the most talented, interesting individuals of all time. And
Jasper
George,
is a
just
fucking
so
Sexy.
And Tarek,
so
one of the
sexy. He can
sexiest
do
voices of
everything.
all time.
Yep.
Hey man.
Yeah,
Hey
you
man.
you got some pipes, man. You got some pipes.
I try.
He got a good pipe.
You got the pipe and you got some vocal pipes. You got
Thank
it
you.
all.
That was perfect.
They know about all my pipes.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, you
nice.
got both types.
Oh, okay. We're
Oh God. Okay, sorry.
yeah. We can't post it. Just
Oh
kidding.
no.
Well, I have the ultimate question then. You guys obviously all really support each other and think each other is the fucking shit, but when you're all hanging out, who gets aux? Who has the allotted aux privileges?
I'll give it to Joseph.
And
Ooh.
if I were to like give it to one person, I would give it to Joseph, because his taste is like goes around everyone's taste and more.
Question.
And
So
but
sweet.
like if we each all had the aux, it would be completely different.
Like when I trip LSD, I need Joseph to have the aux. Otherwise, I don't trust the person playing
That is
music.
such a compliment. That is like giving
That
someone
is a
the
compliment.
Thank you.
of all time.
He plays these songs that feel like a warm hug. Like when I'm
Yes.
tripping and like I'm not feeling too well, like that. Like Joseph will play a song that I've never heard before, and then like it just feels like I'm being hugged by like a force.
No,
Automatically.
Yep.
Yeah.
it's something else. Like when I first before we started even making music and stuff, me and Joseph were just friends. If it wasn't for Joseph just like being friends with him and like him putting me on to so many different artists, I would still like be listening to just like Justin Bieber and Demi Lovato and Jonas Brother. Like that's the
Yeah.
that's the
High
type
School
of
Hey,
music. Like
we
I was
had
on
some
that,
similar
but
tastes.
Joe, we had similar tastes. Like we connected, but like he opened up my taste in music and showed me a lot more stuff than that I ever like would have found on my own, and it's something I'm
Thank
super
you.
grateful for.
You know, you just gotta open your mind to
Thank
listen
you.
to. You just
Yeah.
gotta open your mind and listen to whatever sounds good. Like, don't even worry about what genre
And-
it is. Like, as long as
Yeah.
it sounds good and like it makes you feel something, makes you feel human, like that's all that matters.
I mean,
Exactly.
sometimes it's hard to listen to new music that you can't, that you don't really relate to or vibe with or whatever, but
When someone
I
shows
mean,
you
obviously,
the goods.
that
Exactly.
you can really.
It's like Joseph
And
is.
Joseph also.
Go
You can keep going.
Oh God.
I
It's
was
like
just gonna
Joseph
say,
is.
it's like Joseph is LSD himself because he opens your mind up to all of these different possibilities and does give you
Ooh.
the warm hug.
That's
So
beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a good way to put that.
Poetry.
Yeah,
yes, shout
it's
out
funny.
Joseph.
Joseph was also like before anyone had their license, before Joe even had his license, he was driving in high
So was
school.
Dom.
Like
So
so was Dom. But specifically Joe, like we would go into his car. It was one of the first times I like got to experience like blasting music with your friend, just like with your friends, and like his aux game was something else. He's like turn it off. But yeah, he brought a lot to us and brought a lot to the table.
It's beautiful.
I can't believe I drove illegally for like a whole year.
Dude, we would go
For the culture.
like sophomore, junior year, we just like drive like 30 minutes onto the highway to downtown, get smoke eaters and chicken wings and stuff. Like
So good.
good times.
So good. Amazing. Well, I know we're supposed to
Hilarious.
wrap up soon, and I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but is there anything that, that's coming up for you that you want to leave us with? Any mantras or words of wisdom that we can take with us? I mean, Joseph essentially being acid now can definitely tell us something about the world. So anything you want to leave us
Face
with?
of
And
LSD.
yes, exactly. Tell us anything you want to tell us, anything you want to leave it with.
If you have free time as a college student or as a young adult,
Any
free time,
any age,
like learn about things that are necessary to know about, and like find, because there's things like I have a passion for fucking birds and cetaceans, marine life, and that's like I learned that out of my like my last semester at college. I knew I was gonna drop out the whole semester. I still got decent grades, but like during those classes, I was just taking my own classes on the intelligence of like birds and cetaceans. So it's like
Wow.
like learn about places other than the USA, because there are so many things that we're bubbled out of that if you search for the information, you can find it. And these are real world issues that if you have the privilege to learn about, like the free time, because a lot of people start working at age 16 and like they have to provide for their families, so they don't have the time for the type of existential thought that like I was lucky to have, because my parents didn't make me pay rent. So like so if you have that time, don't take advantage of it, because you could be learning so much. Your brain's reaching its prime, its peak, and go ahead, sorry.
I think like that's good for like going outwards, but I also think like take the time to really go inwards and find yourself, because there's like a lot of, it's easy to get like going through like just growing up and just like wherever you are, it's very easy to get influenced and very easy to like not know who you are or what you like. Just like like I don't want to tell you to love yourself and to believe in yourself. I need to tell you to learn to love yourself, learn to believe in yourself, learn to be at like the most comfortable when you're alone. Spend your time doing things like you want to do. Like, and I heard this quote in a show, I think it's called High Fidelity, but it's like, it's not about what you're like, it's about what you like. So it's like spending the time to go into the things that you like and you're interested in. It's like, if you have that privilege and that free time, is to like just practice doing things you love. And like, that's something that like me growing up, like I was heavily influenced by just like the people and like internet, and like the best thing I ever did for myself and my mental health, and it was to like kind of step back from everyone and like everything and spend a lot of time by myself. And through that, I realized like singing and writing is something that helped me feel really comfortable alone. And I just did that for years by myself until I felt comfortable doing it around people and I knew who I was. And it just makes it so much easier to move forward, like comfortably in any field, no matter what it is.
Yeah,
totally.
just a little bit. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Totally. Well, we need to have y'all back for another conversation of existentialism and all the shit that makes our minds tick, because I feel like y'all
Hopefully in person next time too.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be a real party. And Joseph will be on Aux, so
Yes, of course.
Next time we're back in the Bay Area.
perfect. Thank you guys so much, seriously, for taking the time to do this. It just feels so good to talk and connect. And I think you guys really have the power to change so many people's minds through your music and through all the shit you shared today. So we bow down to you. Thank you. You all are the fucking best.
Thank you for having us.
Incredible.